Let me know. I'm Jane Velez Mitchell, and we are at the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit in Los Angeles, which is absolutely incredible. I just want to show you a little bit of what's going on. Take a look at all of this. Just really, truly fascinating. A lot of excitement, but we've got two amazing guests with us right now, and I would really like to introduce you to those guests. So, scooch up a little bit. You have just come from the Ukraine, and you are feeding vegan food to refugees and soldiers who are fighting the Russians, people who are in the middle of a war zone. You are cooking in the middle of a war zone and feeding people food they desperately need, but it's all 100% plant-based because you're vegan and you're operating for peace, obviously. So it's peace for the animals too. Can you scooch in a little bit and tell us your story? Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Marta Ostrovska.
And my name is Oksana Humyak.
Yeah, we're from Lviv, and we, as Jen said, serving free food, free vegan food for refugees of war and for vegan soldiers on the front lines. We started our project second day from the day when full-scale Russian war was started, like Russian aggression over Ukraine, 24 of February 2022.
Yes, and tell us the kind of food you're feeding to the refugees and the Ukrainian soldiers. And thank you for speaking up because it's a very loud conference that we're at here. Go ahead, tell us.
So we have a place in Lviv, which is one of the most western cities. In this city, we hosted a lot of refugees from all over the world. And in our place in Lviv, we are serving hot meals on a daily basis. It's two dishes every day. First is soup, borscht, lentil soup, mushroom soup. And second dish is either grains or pasta with something high in protein, plant-based, of course, and something, some vegetables, something green, something healthy.
I want to know about, well, first of all, the courage that is involved here. Imagine cooking and delivering food when you're in a war zone. Seth Tibbett, who is the founder of Tofurky, one of the biggest vegan brands out there, is helping to fund their tour of the United States. And he says that when he's having Zoom calls with you, a lot of times you're hearing air raid sirens in the background. So just because they're in Lviv, which is a slightly more peaceful area, it's not like the front lines. It's still incredibly dangerous. I mean, what about the fear that you're experiencing? Can you tell me something about your fear?
About Lviv, Lviv is the western city of the Ukraine. It's relatively peaceful, but only if you are comparing to cities of the east or the north of the Ukraine, because Lviv is attacked as well as every other city in Ukraine. Lviv was attacked 32 times from the beginning of the war, and yeah, we are still like no one is safe in Ukraine until we will not win this war.
So, what kind of food? What I'd like to know is, and I say this as somebody, I can have trouble making coffee and toast at the same time, and they're whipping up thousands of meals in the middle of a war zone. What are some of the actual recipes that you have made? Can you give us some of the names of the dishes?
I think everyone who ever heard about Ukrainian kitchen, about Ukrainian dishes, should probably know about the borscht. It's the dish that has a lot of varieties, and it traditionally has the vegan option. It's beetroot soup, basically, and that's one of the dishes that you might probably know. Once we cooked pizza. We don't do fancy dishes like that on a daily basis, but for the vegan day, we wanted to introduce our guests even more to the vegan kitchen, and not to, because they already know that vegan food can be like hearty and tasty and everything, and it can look and taste just the same as the regular meal on regular Ukrainian table. But we wanted to make something special and to show people that even fancy food can be vegan, and everyone loves pizza, so it was our little celebration of the World Vegan Day, November 1st.
We are talking to two young women who are risking their lives to bring vegan food in the Ukraine. They're cooking it in the Ukraine and delivering it to refugees, people who are fleeing because their houses have been bombed or set on fire, are uninhabitable. They fled for their lives. They're hungry. They're depressed. They're devastated because they've lost everything. And these two young women who are vegan are serving a vegan meal. Do you feel that there's a sense of peace in the fact that you're serving a meal that doesn't involve killing, since war is obviously about killing?
Yeah, that's what's interesting, that people in during the crisis and during the war, they are still open to change their daily habits, and they are still open to go vegan, which was surprise personally for me, because at the beginning the main goal was to help existing vegans to stay vegan, but turned out that people are ready to go vegan, and the feedback we usually got from our non-vegan guests, that they never expected vegan food can be so filling, so nutritious, and so delicious, and they are ready to go vegan thanks to our food. Because there's a couple of ways why you can go vegan. You can be more about ethics, about climate, about health, and about tasty food, and this
And
is
about
our
not
area.
killing animals.
That's ethics, right?
Yes.
And we are more about inviting people to veganism thanks to tasty food.
But also, I mean, you can't be lost. You're in the middle of a war zone. War is about killing. And so they're having a meal that doesn't involve killing any animals. And I would assume that there's a lot of veganism going on because the whole system is sort of fallen apart to a large degree. So I would assume that would impact farming and meat products as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, what were some of the things that people who have gotten these vegan meals have said to you? You talked about one woman. Tell us about that.
Yeah, one of our best memories, and I don't know, the brightest memories, is one woman who told us during second or third week of operation of Lviv Vegan Kitchen that our place in Lviv was the first place, the first time she smiled since full-scale war started, because she had to relocate from her home and she lost a lot. She was really sad. She didn't smile for a couple of weeks, and it made us feel really good, because we don't just cover the basic need of staying fed and staying, I don't know, nourished, but we also help people to feel better. We make them feel that they are cared of, that they are not alone. So it's really one of the brightest moments for us.
How can we Americans and people watching around the world, Unchained TV is a global app. How can people who are moved by this help you? What can they do? If you could spell it out.
We, for our normal operation, for serving from 150 to 200 meals a day for refugees, we need 5,000 of US dollars per month. And we can do, obviously we can do more, because for example we have 40,000 of requests from vegans from all over Ukraine pending. So the more funds we have, the more people we can help. So donations and sharing information help a lot. And there's plenty ways of donate. There's Well-Fed World link. There's Patreon for where we are posting recipes and interesting stories from daily activist life. And there's PayPal, of course.
Okay, so we will put all the links in the description so that those who want to help will be able to help. But a world-fed world, a well-fed world. Just Google that. You go to their website, you can donate, and they will. Is there a way that people can say earmark for the Ukraine when they donate to a world-fed world?
Yeah, they just can mark for Ukraine, right?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
A well-fed world, and you just earmark the donation to the Ukraine. You will help Vegan Kitchen, Lviv Vegan Kitchen, and these two incredible women with Lviv Vegan Kitchen. I just want to ask you one last question because I'm really curious about this, and that is the fear factor. I mean, I am terrified when I hear fireworks. My dogs are terrified. And that's just a simulation of the sounds of war. What has it been like for you guys personally living in a war zone?
I can say it is really terrifying, and I think the moments when you see rockets flying in the sky and moments when you hear explosions, there's something you can never forget. But at the same moment, there are really brave people like our soldiers defending us, and these sounds and these explosions is part of their daily living. So we are trying to do our daily job to support them and to make this all end as soon as possible and to help Ukraine win.
Yes, and hopefully from your mouth to God's ear, like they say, it will end soon. What a brutal war it is. It's a war that is in our televisions. I wake up every day and I go online and I see some other atrocity, some horror. War is killing. It is horrible. And I am so glad that you're bringing vegan meals to those who are most affected by it. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. And the
Thank
best
you.
of luck to you. All right, if I'm going to ask you to step up, we've got our next guest. We're going to, okay. We're going to pose for a photograph. Here we go. Oh, yeah. One more time.
Let's
Yes.
do that.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to bring in our next guest.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, dears. What incredible women. Come on, scooch over here right next to me. All right, tell me, hi, how you doing? Tell me who you are. And
I'm so good. My name is Sage. I'll flash my badge. And I've been in the movement almost for a decade now. I started as a 17-year-old.
yes.
And I am running for public office in Florida at the county level because there is a slaughterhouse that they're trying to get made in a rural town near where I'm from. And almost everyone is against it for every reason: environmental, animal protection, the health of the people who live in the community. And the only person who's for it is one mayor. And it would be a slaughterhouse that kills only about 8 cows a day. I say only, but no one should be dying for food ever, of course. And we just don't want it in our area. We don't want that energy. We don't want the public-private partnership that brings. And luckily, the chances of this actually succeeding now are pretty slim because Florida's governor did something good for a change, if I can get political, and he took away some of the funding for the slaughterhouse. So it's likely not going to happen now because the county just doesn't have the money. And I'm taking this opportunity to run for office because I want to promote the issues that all of your viewers and you care about so much. And I'm really excited to get the campaign started. But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. What else should I
Well,
tell
I
the
think
good people?
the last year you were at the conference, which was in DC. It's now here in LA, and you were doing something different. Tell us what you were like. How you do so much. Tell us how it all evolved.
Well, thanks, Jane. That's super sweet. Yeah. Up until recently, I was a paralegal at a law firm that sued big ag companies for lying about humaneness and sustainability of their products. We did great work. I was there for about 4 years, and we were able to sue companies like Tyson and Smithfield, Kraft and Sargento, and it was really exciting, awesome work. And I'm still supportive of all of that. And I think that legal issues in our movement don't always get talked about as much because the law takes a long time. It's not as sexy or fun of a choice to get into. And I'm just really grateful that there are people still working in animal law, like my awesome colleague Brooke, who's still there at Richmond Law and Policy, helping run the animal welfare program.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Honestly, and we're not allowed to get political because we're a 501c3, but just in terms of being articulate, you are so articulate. You speak so succinctly, and I'm glad that slaughterhouse isn't happening. I want to thank you so very much for being here. Keep us posted.
Well,
I hope you win the battle. Now we've got another incredible guest, and we're going to ask you. We're going to get uncomfortably close because it's getting louder now that more and more people are coming in. I am so excited to have Michelle Del Cueto from Direct Action Everywhere here, and you are just lean in if you would, Michelle. Tell us what you do because Direct Action Everywhere is an incredible organization that is really going after systemic change. They want to change corporations, they want to change governments, and they do very edgy protests and edgy demonstrations. What is your role with Direct Action Everywhere?
Yeah, hi, thank you for having me. I'm DXC's international coordinator. Basically, I mentor all of the chapters outside from the Bay Area. I help them get on board and manage a lot of support and campaigns and things that are related to organizing internationally. And I'm also a photographer and document a lot of the trials and protests and important events that happen at DXC.
Now, there is a big trial coming up in a couple of weeks, actually, September 8th, and UnchainedTV will be all over it. What would your role be there? And tell us basically, we don't need to get into all the details right now, but just generally, what is the case about?
Well, basically, the Sonoma trial is Probably most of like the most important trial that we have at DXC, because it involves many investigations and mass actions and open rescues from these farms that belong to Petaluma Poultry and
Yeah, we don't need all the names, but basically,
Yeah.
what's the situation?
well, basically, Cassie, Priya, Wayne are being charged with felonies for participating or being identified as the leaders of DXC and conducting mass actions and investigations at farms in Sonoma County, California.
Yeah. Now, just so we can tell our viewers, Unchained TV will be covering the Sonoma trial, the Sonoma DXC trial, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that you can tune into the Unchained TV streaming network to watch the trial coverage. Starting on September 8th, we're going to be every day. And I've actually talked to Wayne Shung, who is not only a former constitutional law professor, he's one of the defendants. He's representing himself. Then there's some other attorneys representing the two other DXC members who are they're facing felonies. They're facing something like 7 years in prison. And, in 2015, Proposition 2 went into effect. And that was passed by all the voters in California, which is about to become the fourth largest economy in the world. It's currently the fifth largest economy in the world. And Prop 2 outlawed battery cages, where these chickens are kept in these tiny, tiny cages, and their claws are on these wires for their whole lives, and it's just absolutely cruel. And so they went into these facilities and saw that, according to them, and we invite anybody from any of those facilities on anytime, any of them are invited on anytime, but they said that they have photographic and video proof that they were violating the law. They are violating Prop 2. So they went to the prosecutors and they went to law enforcement. They went here, there, and everywhere saying, investigate. There's the people of California passed Prop 2 that says no more battery cages, and they've got the battery cages in there. Investigate and prosecute them if they're breaking the law. Crickets. Nobody did. There has been zero enforcement of any violation of Prop 2 since it went into effect. Are you really telling me that millions and millions and millions and millions of chickens are all being kept perfectly? Of course not. They're just not enforcing the law. So they went in there and they took out 2 sick chickens and a few sick chickens. I can't say exactly how many. But now they are facing 7 years in prison each. So this is a felony trial. What do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that instead of going after the companies, okay, for all of these conditions, they go after the people who show the conditions?
Well, it's not surprising because most of these companies have the total support of the legal system and even police. We're asking them like, hey, we have documented the worst animal cruelty that we have ever seen. Do something. And instead of doing something, they just decide to side with the corporation and then prosecute the people that are exposing those atrocities.
And how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me angry. But I feel that we have a good chance for this trial to be our third right to rescue victory. We already have 2, so I think having Sonoma there will be like a big chance to shift the, how do you say?
Yeah,
Like
the public
system.
consciousness. One of the things that Wayne Shung, who is, again, he's been in the New York Times several times now. It's really, I mean, I applaud the New York Times for covering these stories, but it is kind of sad that you have to risk going to prison to get written up in major newspapers, or the other way, to get on TV anyways, to get naked. I always say you have to either get naked or risk going to prison to get an animal rights story out there in the mainstream media. So he said, what's really amazing, because the last 2 similar cases, one in Utah and one in California, were acquittals. Similar cases, not the same defendants, but similar cases. Well, in one case, Wayne was also the defendant.
Yeah.
But he said, when you put it in front of the jury are just average Americans. and they care about animals.
Yeah.
And they've acquitted the last two people who have gone into factory farms and slaughtered, taken animals that are in terrible conditions due to industrialized animal agriculture. So I want to thank you for stopping by and talking to us. I know you're going to do some great work at the trial, and I hope we can have you on camera again when the trial starts.
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
and we're going to have team coverage of it. Thank you so much. It's very, very nice seeing you. Okay, we've got our next speaker coming in, and it's getting, as this heats up, let me just show you a little bit of what's happening here. I'm going to show you a little bit of what's happening here. And look, it's really, really heating up. So I need to show you that people are flooding in here to the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit. So we got to talk a little louder because it's getting noisier and noisier as more people show up. But I know you have a great voice. We're here with Supreme Dow. Supreme Dow is feeding vegan food to homeless people, or should we say houseless? Unhoused people in Los Angeles. So if you could just bring us up to date on exactly what you're doing.
What I'm doing is providing high vibrational gourmet vegan meals to those on Skid Row, at the West LA VA, or any oppressed neighborhood. We make the food from scratch, myself. We let them come in and eat whatever they want, and we do it for free. We're doing 10,000 meals over a 10-week period.
And what is the reaction of the unhoused people who are getting nutritious and delicious vegan food thanks to you?
Nothing but love. They feel the love through the food. They feel appreciated. They feel valued, and they see that we're putting actual intention and love into what we give them, so we receive that back. We receive attention and love from them.
And why you? Why have you decided to do this incredibly challenging? You know, I've said it before, talking to other people who are feeding refugees and Ukrainian soldiers in a war zone in the Ukraine, and I'm like, I'm getting challenged sometimes in the morning making coffee and toast, and now you also are feeding thousands of people. How do you do it? How do you make these meals?
Just with love, peace, and happiness. I've dedicated my life. I've been a chef over 20 years. I've dedicated my life to bring happy meals and just bring love to people through food. So, a prayer, a wing, and a dream. Get in the kitchen, put recipes together, and get it out. I do it because I have to. I've been vegan my whole life. I'm accountable to the universe. I'm accountable to the earth. I'm accountable to the animals. I'm accountable to the planet. And that's my way to give back.
Why are you vegan? What is it that turned you vegan, and why do you think it's so important?
Because plants are here for us. Animals are here with us. I was born and raised vegan, and it's important because optimal health is everything. We all have the right to be whole, happy, and healthy. That's animal life, plant life, and human life.
I love your attitude, and you have a great, strong voice telling these stories. What kind of vegan food do you feed to the unhoused in Los Angeles? And frankly, how do you get it to them? Because sometimes it looks a little difficult to go into those encampments.
Okay, so they get all kinds of food. We do raw vegan. We do gastropub style food. Some days we may do a quinoa salad. We may do, shrimp and waffles or a cheeseburger. But we literally go
vegan cheeseburger.
Vegan, pardon me, plant-based burgers.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
No, I only say it because sometimes people hear cheeseburgers and they automatically go to meat.
So, to be completely fair, we literally go down to Skid Row. We find blocks. We set up right there on the block. They help us set up. We put tents up. We put canopies up. Bring out the cooking equipment. We make it right there from scratch.
I am blown away. You are really, really an inspiration. Everybody we've talked to here is an inspiration. But let me ask you, are there times when you go, it's overwhelming? Because the homeless crisis has worsened during the pandemic in Los Angeles. And it's considered one of the biggest homeless centers now in the United States. And, I see it. I live in Venice, and it feels very overwhelming. Do you ever get overwhelmed by just the enormity, the number of people who are unhoused right now?
I have to be honest with you, not for me. I take on a challenge. There's a saying, heavy is the head that holds the crown. I feel like I'm the perfect person to do it. I love the people. I love our universe. So No, that's not overwhelming for me. I embrace it. I embrace that.
Now, are there ever any people who go, "Oh, you're serving me vegan food"?
Yes. And then they eat it, they love it, and come back and say, "Where's that vegan guy?"
Well, on that note, I want to say thank you so much. You are such an inspiration. We're going to stay in touch. We want to do more with Supreme Dow. We're going to ask you to get up, and we have our next guest. And we are here at the incredible Animal Vegan Advocacy Summit in Los Angeles at the LAX Marriott. It's absolutely amazing. This is the first day. We've been going live on TikTok. We've been going live on Instagram. We've been going live on our streaming network, UnchainedTV. We have a booth here. I'm going to ask you to scooch up just a little bit. It's getting very loud here, so we're going to ask you to speak up. Tell us who you are and why you're here, what your work is.
Okay, my name is Karen Olson. I have a company called Plant Power Productions. I'm a writer and I'm a health coach. I'm getting recertified through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I'm an amateur chef. I've done the Ruby plant-based cooking, and I'm wanting to finish that. I want to start. I'm also interested in cooking with mushrooms, and I'm also studying the mushrooms, the magic mushrooms, because it's helpful for your brain, your body, longevity. My mom, which I can't talk about, just died a month ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I'm going to talk about this without crying.
You can cry if you
and
want.
I've learned, and I was having to give her morphine and all these really awful things that have all these side effects, which I will not get into. But mushrooms actually are the way to go if you're at end of life. And I think people who have had traumatic, they've got PTSD, they've got all these different challenges, and they're aging. It's a really good answer. So I want to learn about the psilocybin.
Wow. First of all, my deepest condolences. I lost my mother, I would say 9 years ago, and I think of her every day. She lived to 99 and a half on pretty much a vegan diet. She wasn't strictly vegan, but except for people who came in and brought her cheese and gave it to her, she was vegan. And she lived to 99 and a half, but it's losing a parent is brutal. So what do you hope to accomplish here at the Animal Vegan Advocacy Summit?
Well, one of the things, I went to the morning meditation this morning. I have a very emotional cry. I cry at this topic. I cry at the pictures. I cry at. I want to regulate my emotions around this topic so I can be more effective. And I feel like this is the answer is to come and really be with people who know how to do it effectively, work on messaging, so I can work not just from the health standpoint and cooking, but also animal advocacy and combat all of these factory farms and all the terrible things that are happening.
Well, it is heartbreaking, and I always use Ingrid Newkirk, the founder of PETA's philosophy. She says, being sad doesn't help the animals. No. And I give myself permission to enjoy my life if I take action every single day for the animals. Luckily, running a vegan animal rights streaming network, I have to work 12 to 14 hours a day to keep it going. So I'm always taking action for animals. So I want to thank you so very much. Do you have any final words for our audience?
Just go vegan. That's all
Yay,
I have to say.
that's it.
Thank you. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you so much. We've got an extraordinary guest coming up. I am very, very jazzed. Come on over and sit right here. And you're going to have to speak up.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, you're soft-spoken, but we're going to have to just lean forward, like right there, and speak up because it's getting crowded here. I'm going to give you another view of this conference, more and more people coming in, and more and more people talking. So tell us who you are, and I know you're quite renowned for a particular legal case involving dairy, or should kids be forced against their will to drink dairy products, or should plant-based milks be made available? So take it away. Tell us everything.
Yeah, so my name's Maria Williamson. I just graduated high school, and back in April, I filed a lawsuit with the Physicians Committee for free speech against LAUSD and the USDA because I was told that I could not criticize dairy unless I also promoted it. So
say that again. You said, who told you what you don't need to name the name, but what position, the person in what position at the Los Angeles School District told you that you were not allowed to criticize dairy unless you also promoted it? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, it was my principal, but my principal's a very nice guy. He was just bound by this federal law put in place by the USDA, which states that any sort of promotion of products that may interfere with dairy sales are prohibited on school premises. So that was like his in between. So yeah, it was my principal, but he's a great guy. It was just a matter of federal policy.
Yeah, federal policy. So just correct me if I'm wrong. You wanted to promote plant-based milks in your school. You were in high school. You just graduated. You just turned 18. And they told you, your principal said, no, you can't do that unless you also promote dairy? Oh my God. First of all, free speech issue. Secondly, I think the National Institutes of Health itself says that approximately 67% of the general public is lactose intolerant. That means they can't consume dairy. So I think it's absolutely insane that dairy is being basically pushed on school children, even school children who want to drink plant based milk. Tell me how this all came about.
Yeah, well, we were trying to hold a day of action to promote non-dairy milk, to criticize dairy, to talk about the issues associated with the dairy industry. And we as in a California student group, and one of my peers was able to do her day of action in a different school, but I was not, and because of this federal policy.
So then, how did you get in touch with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine?
So the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine was the organization that I was planning the day of action with. And so when I was denied permission, unless I also promoted dairy posters, we talked about going forward with a lawsuit, further action, and we decided it was the best thing to do to raise awareness and to combat this law.
Where is the lawsuit at this time? What is the status of the lawsuit?
The status is the USDA has not responded yet, and they have to very soon. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, if they don't respond, what is it that you're seeking?
We're not seeking money. We're not suing for money at all. We're looking to, most importantly, raise awareness, but also change this law that prevents promotion of non-dairy milk. It's silly, and it's also a way to bring light to this issue, and from there, just spotlight initiatives like the Add Soy Act or the Healthy Future Students and Earth Act, and encourage people to support these acts that allow for plant-based milk in schools.
Now, what about your fellow school children? I assume you weren't wanting to drink dairy milk. You wanted to drink alternative milk, and that might have been one reason. What is, in your experience, what is the procedure for milk in schools? Were they trying to force you to drink dairy milk against your will, or were they not providing plant-based milk? Or I've heard in some cases it requires a doctor's note to get non-dairy milk. What happened in your experience?
Yeah, so it does require a doctor's note or a medical note stating you have a medical condition. And yes, we're told to take cow's milk, but we're not told to drink it. We're told that if you don't want to drink it, just throw it away. I know a 2019 USDA report stated that 30% of cow's milk was thrown away, carton unopened. So this is a product that is just thrown away by students. It's not a product that students want to consume or do consume. It's a really big waste issue, and we need an alternative.
Why you? Why did you get the gumption and guts to do this?
It was an opportunity that came up once I was told that I could not hold this day of action, and it's the kind of thing where this is something that's really wrong, and you have the opportunity to take action against it, and the hate and the negativity that comes out of it outweighs not the positivity outweighs the hate and negativity and the impact it has.
How do your parents feel about this?
My parents are very supportive. My parents are now plant-based and passionate about this issue.
What was your fellow school kids' reactions?
There was it was pretty mixed, but I do know that a lot of most people my age only drink alternative milk. They still consume solid dairy products, but they don't drink cow's milk. So that that is something that we kind of all share. And the I had some peers who came up and just said like they weren't interested in veganism for animal rights, but upon seeing some of the other reasons that came to light in articles on this lawsuit, they are inspired to eat more plant-based. So it's a win overall, I would say.
What would you say if you could? What would you say if you could to the U.S. government, to the USDA? What would you tell them?
It's time to stop putting money over students. That's it. Sounds simple.
I mean, what's your reaction to the fact that, a huge percentage of the general public is lactose intolerant and they're saying, okay, you have to take this milk, but if you don't want to drink it, just toss it. I mean, that just the amount of animal suffering to create milk that is tossed, as well as the environmental impact.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge problem. And it's all unnecessary. None of this has to happen, and yet there's still pushback on including soy milk option, an alternative option, and that's why I encourage anybody who's watching to support the Add Soy Act through Switch for Good's website, which would allow schools to provide an alternative fluid milk substitute, aka soy milk, and be reimbursed, because this is something we really need.
So there is an act. Is this a federal act or a state act?
It's a federal act.
Wow. So tell us again, what would this federal law do and what's it called?
It's called the Add Soy Act, also known as HR 1619, and it stands for addressing addressing digestive distress in the stomachs of our youth, and it essentially would mandate that schools participating in a national school lunch program provide a nutritionally equivalent alternative to cow's milk to any student or parent who requests it, and the school and require that the school be reimbursed. So.
Whoa. Okay, this is fantastic. I want to thank you so much. First of all, I'm so impressed. She's just out of high school, and she looks and sounds like she could be running for the United States Senate. Oh my gosh, what an incredible speaker. And her understanding of the law. I mean, it's just amazing. So I think, oh no, babe. The understanding of the law is just absolutely extraordinary. So I am so really impressed to have you here. Thank you so very much. And, we're going to follow your case. I would love to. Now that you're 18, I interviewed you originally when you were a minor, and I felt like, I'm not sure that I can, hey, how are you? I'm not sure that I can really use that interview because I need to get your parents' permission. But now that you're 18, we can have you on all the time. And you know what? Bring your parents on too. So thank you so much. You are absolutely articulate. I am very, very excited to really, that's a cutting edge legal battle that is happening right now. A really cutting edge legal battle. So we'll stay on top of that. And would you do me a favor and get this young lady's contact information so that if you wouldn't mind going around there. So we are at the end of our broadcast. We have been going on for quite a while now, and we've got to wrap it up. But we are going to be here every single day. Oh my gosh, Naja, come on down for 1 second. Yeah, we're live. Okay, this is one of our hosts. Okay, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, fantastic, yes. Hop down. This is our last guest. We've got to wrap it up. This is Naja Wright Brown. You are absolutely incredible. Naja Wright Brown is a host on Unchained TV. And she has a show which we're going to get on the streaming network. You're on Facebook, but we're going to get you on the streaming network.
Jane's always put me on the spot.
I am getting you on the streaming network because hey, you've got great guests, you've got incredible communication, and you do wonderful things.
I was on this morning at 8 o'clock over here in the morning. Now I see how I feel. It's 11 o'clock.
Just
Eastern
tell
Standard
us,
Time.
you look great, you sound great, you are always full of energy, never tired. Tell us about what you're doing in Baltimore, because you're a change maker.
Well, in Baltimore, if no one knows, I co-own the Land of Kush, multi-award-winning vegan soap bistro in Baltimore, and I'm also the executive director of Black Veg Society, who has co-founded Vegan Soul Fest. We're in our 8th year, and Maryland Vegan Restaurant Month. We're having such a good time. August is going to be the most veganist month in Maryland that you have ever seen. So get your tickets at vegansoulfest.com and participate in Maryland Vegan Restaurant Month. Go to mdveganeats.com. And don't forget to tune in to Naja Speaks at najaspeaks.com Thursdays at 11. I loved it. Jane got me into this, man.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have a show on Facebook and you're incredibly articulate. You have great guests. And will you just do it so that it's on our streaming network? We need your show.
What do you need me to do, Jane?
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get it on there. Okay.
Man.
Well, you see how all this. I'm gonna show you're getting to see behind the scenes. We are live on my personal
I see
Facebook,
that.
on Unchained TV
I see
Facebook, on New Day New Chef,
I
on
see it.
Toronto Big Save,
Woo.
on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, as well as that V stands for the streaming network.
Well, let's get down to business.
So
What do
all
we
you
gotta
need
do?
to do is add all that on so
Okay.
that when you go live, you would not just be on that, you would be on all of this.
Okay, you got.
And then we cross post it and we put it on still others. Like we can put it on your streaming, your Facebook and other Facebooks that you can pick up as collaborators and supporters.
Oh,
So
I can't wait.
yeah.
Jane is the OG, the original goddess,
No.
doing the damn thing.
You're the original goddess. I want to say with that, we're going to wrap it up. It's right at 4:58. We have been on for 45 minutes and we're going to be back tomorrow. So please join us. Of course, Paige Parsons Roach. And thank you. But seriously. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Sit on down.
Real quick.
No, sit down. Okay, we've got 45 seconds left.
Okay.
I want to hear from Paige Parsons Roach, who is the host of Plant Based in the Burbs.
Yes.
Tell us, what's your experience here at this conference?
It's amazing. It's so great to connect with people, hear all their stories, hear what they're about, and all their advocacy that they're doing. There's so many projects. There's a lot of sanctuaries here, too, from around the world. I met somebody from India, Asia. There's a lot happening globally, and this definitely is the place to be to learn. It's been incredible. So it's been a lot of fun. I've reconnected with people that I met on Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse. I mean, I'm meeting all kinds of people right here at the Ava Summit, basically. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Paige Parsons Roach. Got to check out Plant Based in the Burbs on Unchained TV. Everybody, download the streaming network Unchained TV, and it's easy. You can download it right on your phone. I'm just going to show you very quickly. Here's my cell phone, and you can download it right here. Yes, that's it, but see it right here? Boom. Totally free. You just put in the word Unchained TV into your app store, and there it is. It comes right up. We've got a top vegan cooking show right now. We've got tons of content. We've got Pig Little Eyes, which is also on PBS. We've got all of these shows. And the great thing is, if you want to send it to somebody, okay, you can just hit, oh, I like this. I'm gonna text it to my mother who needs to eat more fruits and vegetables. And so it's a very easy way for you to learn new recipes and for you to spread the word to other people that there is a better way that's better for humans. It's better for animals. It's better for the planet. And it is simply just take that animal off your plate and bring in fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, and legumes. Thank you so much for joining us from the Vegan and Animal Advocacy Summit here at the Los Angeles Marriott Hotel. Woo!